What if the gates of Heartland Ranch opened one more time, and Ty Borden stepped back into our lives? Imagine the silence breaking as his boots touched the ground, Amy turning in disbelief, and a wave of emotions flooding back. For years, fans have carried the hope of Ty's return, a dream so powerful that it refuses to fade. But if season 19 gave us that moment, how would it truly feel? Ty Borden's journey in Heartland has always been more than just a storyline. It has been the heartbeat of the series. From the moment he first rode into the ranch as a troubled young man, to becoming Amy's partner, father to Lyndy, and a beloved son-in-law to Jack, Ty's presence shaped the very spirit of Heartland. His love story with Amy was one of healing, growth, and unshakable devotion, giving viewers hope that true love could overcome all obstacles. But then came the painful twist: Ty's departure in season 14, a loss that shook the entire fanbase. His death wasn't just the end of a character arc. It felt like losing a friend, a brother, a husband we had all grown with for over a decade. Amy's grief became our grief, and watching her struggle to move forward mirrored the pain many fans felt in real life. Yet even with Ty gone, his memory never left Heartland. His face lingers in flashbacks, his voice echoes in Amy's quiet moments, and his influence continues to guide the ranch. But deep down, one question remains. What if Ty could return? Not as a dream or a memory, but truly physically back in the story. Season 19, for so many, is not just another season of Heartland. It's a chance to imagine the impossible. Ty Borden walking back into Amy's world. Picture the ranch on a quiet morning. Amy works with the horses, just as she always has. Her daughter Lyndy playing nearby. Jack sits on the porch, watching with that steady, protective gaze. Life has found a rhythm again, but there's still a quiet emptiness. And then, it happens. A familiar figure approaches from the distance. The rhythm of footsteps, the outline of a man who feels both like a stranger and like home. Amy freezes, her breath caught in her chest. The audience feels it too: hope, disbelief, and a flood of emotion all at once. This imagined return is not just about shock value. It's about healing wounds that never fully closed. Ty's reunion with Amy would represent resilience, forgiveness, and the idea that even the deepest pain can transform into joy. For Lyndy, it would mean discovering her father not just through stories or photographs, but in real life, a chance to hold his hand, to hear his voice, and to experience the love she has only dreamed of. In season 19, Ty's return would not erase the past, the pain, the growth, the lessons. All of it would remain. But his reappearance would remind us why Heartland captured our hearts in the first place. It is a story of family, love, and the belief that even in our darkest seasons, miracles are possible. The day begins like any other at Heartland. The sun climbs slowly over the wide Alberta sky, painting the ranch in soft golden light. Horses graze in the fields, the wind moves gently through the tall grass, and Amy works quietly in the round pen, guiding a young colt through its first steps of trust. To her, this is routine, another morning where life feels steady but not complete. Then, without warning, something shifts. At first, it's nothing more than the sound of footsteps on gravel. Amy doesn't notice it right away, too focused on calming the restless colt. But Jack, sitting on the porch with his coffee, hears it. His eyes narrow. There's a figure approaching the ranch road, walking with a familiar rhythm, a walk that stirs something deep in his chest. Amy finally glances up. At first, she thinks her mind is playing tricks on her. The man in the distance looks so much like Ty that her heart stumbles. She blinks, shakes her head, and tells herself it can't be. Yet as the figure comes closer, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. The hair, the shoulders, the unmistakable way he carries himself. It is Ty. Her breath catches. The world seems to fall silent. Even the colt senses her sudden stillness and pauses. Amy's hands tremble as her eyes fill with tears, because part of her still refuses to believe. She whispers, almost to herself, "It can't be. It can't be him." But then he speaks. Amy. Just her name. Carried on the breeze, but it's enough to shatter every wall she's built around her heart. Her knees nearly give out. For years, she has dreamed of this moment, woken up in tears from imagining his voice, his face. And now, here he is real, alive, standing only steps away. She takes a slow step forward, then another, as if afraid he might vanish if she moves too quickly. When she's finally close enough to see the softness in his eyes, the truth crashes over her. It is Ty. No illusion. No dream. Amy breaks. Tears stream down her face as she runs into his arms. Ty catches her with the same strength, the same warmth she remembers. For a long moment, nothing else exists. No past, no questions, no pain. Only the heartbeat of two souls reunited. Jack looks on from the porch, his eyes glassy though he says nothing. This is a man who has seen loss, who has learned to guard his heart. And yet, in this moment, he allows himself to believe in miracles. The air around them feels charged, as though the whole ranch has taken a breath. The horses lift their heads, the wind stills, and the land itself seems to acknowledge the return of someone it never forgot. For Amy, this reunion is not just about love, it's about healing a wound she thought would never close. For Ty, it's about finding his way back home. Not just to a place, but to the people who gave his life meaning. The embrace lingers, but eventually, Amy pulls back just enough to see his face. Her hands cup his cheeks, her tears mixing with a smile that trembles like sunlight on water. For years, she has carried questions with no answers, questions shouted into the silence of nights where she felt alone. Now, the answers stand before her. Ty, she whispers, her voice breaking. How is this possible? He doesn't rush to explain. Instead, he studies her, memorizing every line of her face, as if afraid to lose her all over again. His eyes are heavy with unspoken stories, but his smile carries the weight of someone who has finally come home. You don't need the how, he finally says. All that matters is I'm here. With you. With Lyndy. With our family. Amy closes her eyes, as if to let the words sink into her bones. For so long, she has been strong for her daughter, for her family, for herself. But in this moment, she allows herself to be vulnerable again, to lean into the comfort of the man she once thought she had lost forever. Jack watches quietly from the porch, his heart torn between disbelief and gratitude. This is a man who has buried too many people he's loved. Seeing Ty alive feels like watching the impossible bend into reality. He grips his coffee mug tighter, whispering under his breath, "Marion, he'd be so proud." Nearby, Lyndy appears, drawn by the sound of voices. She hesitates, clutching her toy horse, her eyes wide as she takes in the man she has only known from pictures and bedtime stories. Ty's heart nearly breaks at the sight of her. For a moment, he freezes. How do you meet your daughter for the first time, after so many lost years? Amy senses his hesitation and turns to Lyndy with a soft smile. "Sweetheart," she says gently, her voice trembling with emotion. "This is your dad." Lyndy blinks, looking from her mother to the man, who shares her eyes, her smile. She doesn't speak right away. Instead, she steps forward, slow and cautious, before whispering, "Daddy." Ty kneels, tears spilling freely now. "Yes," he chokes out, his voice breaking under the weight of the word. "I'm your dad." The little girl drops her toy and throws herself into his arms. In that instant, time stops. Amy's tears fall harder, her heart swelling as she witnesses the most powerful moment she could have ever imagined, her daughter finally meeting the man who had always been part of her soul. The ranch seems to hum with life around them, as if every inch of Heartland recognizes the significance of this reunion. The horses stir gently, the wind picks up, and the mountains in the distance stand as silent witnesses. For Amy, it feels like the universe has stitched together a torn piece of her heart. For Ty, it is the beginning of something greater than he ever dreamed. And for Lyndy, it is the miracle of love becoming real. Right before her eyes, the reunion of Amy, Ty, and Lyndy is not just a moment for one family, it is a moment that echoes through the entire ranch like a heartbeat returning after silence. Heartland has always been more than fences, barns, and pastures. It is a living spirit, tied to the people who call it home. And with Ty's return, that spirit feels whole again. Lou is the first to arrive after hearing the commotion. She freezes on the porch steps, her eyes wide, her hand covering her mouth. For years, she carried the pain of watching her sister suffer, of trying to hold the family together through loss. Now, she sees what she never dared to hope for. Tears fall before she can speak. When she finally finds her voice, it's only one word: Ty. He smiles at her, and Lou rushes forward, pulling him into a tight embrace. All the arguments, the doubts, the years of worry seem to dissolve in an instant. For Lou, this is not just about her brother-in-law returning, it's about her sister finally being free from the shadows of grief. Behind her, Lisa joins Jack, slipping her hand into his. Together, they watch as the pieces of their family realign. Jack, the man who built his life around protecting those he loves, feels his chest loosen for the first time in years. He doesn't speak much, but his eyes say everything: relief, gratitude, and the quiet joy of a dream fulfilled. Inside the barn, the horses stir as if sensing the change. Spartan, Amy's faithful partner through every storm, neighs and stomps as Ty walks closer. There is a familiarity in the way the horse reacts, a recognition that goes deeper than time. When Ty reaches out his hand, Spartan lowers his head and accepts him without hesitation. The bond between them, like the bond between Ty and Amy, was never truly broken. But the most powerful change comes not in the barn or the porch, it comes in the small, ordinary moments that follow. Amy laughs again, not the forced smile of someone trying to be strong, but the unguarded laughter of a woman who has her heart back. Lyndy clings to her father's hand as if she's known him forever. Meals around the table feel warmer, filled with voices and stories instead of pauses and silence. The ranch itself seems lighter. Work feels less like duty and more like joy. Every sunrise carries new hope. Every sunset feels like a promise kept. Heartland becomes what it always was meant to be. Not just a place of healing, but a place of miracles. And yet, beneath all the joy, there is a quiet truth. Ty's return does not erase the years of pain. The scars remain, but those scars tell a story of survival, of a family that endured loss and came out stronger. His presence does not undo the past, it transforms it. The grief becomes part of the journey, and the reunion becomes proof that love never truly dies. As the camera pulls back from the ranch, the family gathered together, laughter rising into the wide Alberta sky. One thing is clear: this is not just the return of Ty Borden. It is the return of hope, of faith, and of the belief that even the deepest losses can give way to the most unexpected blessings, because in Heartland, family is forever. And sometimes the heart finds its way home. As the laughter fades into the golden evening light, a softer truth begins to settle. What we have witnessed, the return of Ty, the embrace of Amy, the reunion of a family, is not the reality written into Heartland's script. It is the dream carried by millions of fans, a dream so vivid it feels alive, even if only in our imagination. Ty's story ended years ago, in a moment that left us breathless with sorrow. His passing in season 14 was not just a plot twist, it was a breaking point. It forced Amy, and all of us watching, to face the pain of moving forward when the person we love most is no longer beside us. That grief, raw and unrelenting, became part of the show's soul. It shaped Amy into the woman she is today, strong, resilient, and deeply human. But here lies the paradox of Heartland. Even as it teaches us about loss, it also teaches us about love that never leaves. Ty may not physically return in the official story, yet he remains woven into every frame. He lives in the way Amy trains a horse with patience he once showed her. He lives in Jack's quiet wisdom, forged by the lessons Ty left behind. He lives in Lyndy's smile, carrying traces of a father she'll always know through love, even without memory. This what-if vision of season 19 isn't meant to erase the truth, it's meant to honor it. To honor the longing we feel when we imagine one more hug, one more laugh, one more morning together. It's proof of the power of storytelling, how deeply a character can embed themselves into our hearts. For many fans, Ty is more than fiction. He is a symbol of growth, redemption, and unconditional love. And so, while we may not see Ty ride again in Heartland, his presence is eternal. Every scene, every glance at the ranch carries a whisper of him. His absence has become part of the show's heartbeat, reminding us that life is fragile, but love endures. Perhaps that's the lesson Heartland has always tried to teach us, that even in the darkest winters, spring always returns. That grief may reshape us, but it also deepens the love we hold for those we've lost. And that the stories we cherish most are not just about happy endings, but about finding hope in the middle of heartbreak. So when we imagine Ty walking back through that gate, we are not denying reality, we are celebrating love. We are keeping alive the dream that has united fans across the world. And maybe that's the most powerful truth of all. Ty Borden doesn't need to return in body, because he never truly left. He lives on in Amy, in Lyndy, in Jack, in all of Heartland. And in us, the sun sinks low over Heartland, painting the sky in streaks of orange and pink, as if the heavens themselves are writing the last lines of the story. The ranch grows quiet, but the silence is not empty, it is full, brimming with everything this land has seen: heartbreak and healing, loss and love, beginnings and farewells. And here is where we leave the dream. Ty's return, Amy's embrace, Lyndy's laughter, it all exists within the tender space between memory and imagination. But perhaps that is where the most powerful stories live, not in what is written on paper, but in the places our hearts refuse to let go. Heartland has never been just about horses, or family dinners, or ranch life under the open sky. It has always been about us, the viewers, who found pieces of ourselves in these characters. Ty Borden was not just Amy's love. He was hope for the broken, strength for the weary, and proof that people can change for the better. His journey inspired us because it mirrored our own struggles with second chances, forgiveness, and growth. Even now, as the seasons carry on without him, Ty's presence lingers. In every sunrise Amy greets with quiet determination. In every piece of wisdom Jack passes down. In every spark of courage Lyndy shows as she learns about the world. His spirit rides through these hills, not as a ghost, but as a reminder that love does not end when life does. And so we close this What If not with sorrow, but with gratitude. Gratitude for the years we spent with Ty, for the love story that defined Heartland, and for the way his character continues to live inside us. We close with the knowledge that even though his return may only exist in our dreams, those dreams keep his legacy alive, because Heartland has always whispered one truth: family is forever. And family doesn't end with loss, it stretches across time, across memory, across every story we carry in our hearts. Ty's return may never appear on screen, but it will always appear where it matters most in us, the fans who still believe. So as the screen fades to black and the music swells, we are left with a simple, unshakable truth: Ty Borden never really left Heartland, and he never will. Would you welcome Ty's return in season 19? Or do you believe his greatest gift was the love he left behind? The night settles over Heartland, stars scattering across the endless Alberta sky like tiny lanterns of memory. The ranch grows still, the day's work finished, the laughter of family fading into quiet peace. And in that stillness, something deeper remains, a reminder of why we return to this story again and again. Ty Borden's imagined return in season 19 is not just about bringing back a character. It is about bringing back a feeling. The feeling of watching Amy's eyes light up when she sees him. The feeling of Jack's quiet pride, loose tears of relief, Lyndy's joy at discovering her father's love. It is the heartbeat of what Heartland has always meant: home, family, love that endures no matter how much time has passed. But perhaps the greatest power of this What If is not the reunion itself, but what it awakens in us. It reminds us of the people we have lost, and how desperately we sometimes wish for just one more moment. It reminds us that even if we cannot rewrite life's endings, we can keep those we love alive in memory, in story, and in spirit. That is the gift of Heartland. It mirrors the lives we live outside the screen. It teaches us that grief is not an ending, but a bridge. That love is not bound by time, but continues in the small gestures, the whispered names, the silent prayers, and that sometimes imagining the impossible is what keeps hope alive in us. So, as we close the gates of Heartland Ranch tonight, we are not saying goodbye. Instead, we are carrying something forward. Ty's legacy, Amy's strength, Lyndy's innocence, Jack's wisdom, and above all, the truth that family is not broken by loss, but reshaped by it. When the screen fades, the story doesn't end, it lives on in us. Every time we remember Ty, every time we feel that ache and that hope, we are keeping him alive. And maybe that is the most beautiful return of all. So here's the question we leave with. Is it the return of Ty we truly long for? Or is it the reminder that love never leaves us, even when life does? As the stars shimmer over Heartland, the answer whispers softly, he is already here, always has been, always will be.